Why is Steve Smith's love life such a tragic comedy? On paper, he should be a catch. Brainy, loyal, even musically talented. But every time romance knocks, catastrophe answers the door first. Over 20-plus seasons, Steve has fallen head over suspenders for cheer captains, senior citizens, cruise ship entertainers, femme-fatale paintings, and even a VR avatar secretly operated by his own father. Each ends in spectacular ruin. The painting turns out to be Steve himself in a wig. The avatar plan nearly tricks him into incest, and the kindly grandmother figure dumps him for his best friend, Snot. Add a home life where dad carries CIA gadgets to quote-unquote help, mom swings between helicopter and sabotage, Roger shapeshifts into jealous rivals, and Klaus dispenses advice from a fishbowl, and you get the perfect storm. Strip away the sci-fi hijinks, though, and the core problem surfaces. Steve chases the idea of love so hard, he ignores every red flag, or bulldozes it with a rocket launcher, until the universe slaps him back to reality. Steve Smith has never nailed a good first impression, and he debuted with a doozy. In the very first broadcast episode, he spots Lisa Silver, decides on the spot she's future Mrs. Smith, and flicks her bra strap so hard she yelps. He thinks it's teasing flirtation. She thinks it's assault with an elastic weapon. Seconds later, her quarterback boyfriend decks him. That moment crystallizes Steve's early formula. From overconfident scheme, to instant humiliation, to straight-up frantic overcorrection. What many fans forget is that in the unaired test pilot, Steve looked even worse. Ganglier limbs, squeakier voice, perpetual flop sweat. So much so that Seth MacFarlane ordered a redesign and hired ER alum Scott Grimes for the now iconic falsetto croon. The upgrade saved the character visually, but couldn't save his dating game. The boy who once practiced pickup lines on the family dog still treats romance like a science experiment with faulty goggles. Lesson number 1. Popularity buys affection, until it doesn't. Stung by Lisa's rebuff, Steve runs for student body president, and with Stan's ballot stuffing, wins in a landslide. Overnight, he's chauffeured in golf carts, gets VIP cafeteria access, and voila, Lisa starts texting him. Steve mistakes her perk pursuit for passion and moves in for a kiss. She recoils, admitting she only wanted the social clout. The revelation flips a switch. Drunk on power and heartbreak, President Smith bans all PDA on campus, turning hallway handholding into a felony and evacuating the school during a fabricated love threat. His parents have to storm the building to stop their pint-sized despot. By week's end, Lisa is deported, thanks Stan, and Steve learns that forcing feelings never works, but the damage is done. That cycle, grand gesture, fleeting victory, nuclear fallout, becomes his blueprint for every crush that follows, from Debbie Hyman's off-screen breakups to clone girls who age to dust in his arms. Family sabotage is practically baked into Steve's DNA. Every milestone seems to trigger a Smith crisis. The minute Steve spots his lone red pubic hair, his tiny badge of manhood, Francine has a meltdown. Her solution? Snag a CIA age retarder serum to freeze Steve at preteen status. Instead, she rewinds him past puberty, past kindergarten, straight to diaper days. Toddler Steve waddles to the mall for a big date with Lisa, who naturally assumes she's been stood up and that the baby is Steve's nephew. When Stan tries to fix mom's blunder with an accelerant formula, they overshoot again, and Steve wakes up an 80-year-old with white pubes and a walker. Every rescue mission from his folks doubles as a scarring lesson. Whenever the Smith parents intervene, puberty isn't delayed, it's derailed. Rejection eventually curdled into vendetta, unveiling a darker Steve no guidance counselor could predict. After the student body president fiasco, Steve and Lisa drifted apart, until season 4's Escape from Pearl Bailey, where Lisa's campaign team humiliates Steve's then-girlfriend, Debbie Hyman, with an online slam page. Believing Lisa masterminded it, Steve dons a Navajo Joe mask and wages psychological warfare. Buffalo manure dumped on her best friend, clandestine liposuction that leaves another girl inflated with fat, and the piece de resistance, infecting Lisa with oral herpes by letting a prostitute snuggle her childhood teddy bear. It's a shock to the system reveal. Under that squeaky voice and asthma inhaler lurks a kid who, when cornered, plots like a Bond villain. The twist? Steve's own pals posted the slam page, framing Lisa. By the time the truth surfaces, Lisa's posse corners the boys and dishes out a beating worthy of an R rating, freezing Steve and Lisa's relationship in permanent, mutually assured loathing. When classmates weren't available, Steve's radar swung wildly to age-inappropriate settings, often with nightmarish fallout. Enter Gretchen, his late grandpa's octogenarian companion, whom Steve woos over prune smoothies and Matlock reruns. until she swaps him for Snot after spotting the boy's denim vest on her couch. Charlotte turns things up to full creep mode. She introduces herself as a registered sex offender, immediately grabbing Steve and his friend's attention, but then reveals her real deal. She needs free labor to help flip her house. The boys, fueled by hope and teenage hormones, show up in Speedos to scrub her pool, fully expecting something else in return. And she doesn't disappoint, emotionally at least. As they tackle yard work, the tension grows. She flirts, they misread every comment, and by the end, they've remodeled her bedroom, only for her to ghost them completely once the work is done. She walks away, leaving them high and dry while she moves on to the next property, not another date. It's a classic bait and switch. She used their attraction as a recruiting tool. Steve ends the day feeling awkward, used, and oddly more confused than heartbroken. And the pattern is clear. Steve's desperation blinds him to every red flag, turning older woman experience into a macabre highlight reel. Lindsay Coolidge. Proof slapstick fate always finds Steve. A hopeful mall date with adventurous junior Lindsay turns into a sci-fi farce when Roger's mind wipe gadget erases her entire memory of their evening, including the rare moment she enjoyed Steve's mall geology trivia. Months later, Lindsay reemerges as an adrenaline junkie who rewards risk. Desperate to match her energy, Steve volunteers Roger's flame-retardant body for backyard fireworks, only to blast his own thumb across Langley Falls. Lindsay is thrilled. Danger is hot, until Steve brags her breast felt smaller than expected, while numb. One offhand insult, and the spark fizzles. Between alien tech, exploded digits, and chronic foot and mouth syndrome, Steve once again proves he can't out-crazy the universe without self-destructing. The prom clone fiasco? Sci-fi wish fulfillment turned moral horror. Panicked at the prospect of attending prom without dates, Steve and Snot splice DNA from two attractive upper-class girls, expecting instant companions. Instead, the vat spits out infants Glitter and Honey, who hyper-age like time-lapse orchids. Within 48 hours, Steve morphs from doting dad to uneasy suitor, realizing he's literally grooming beings he raised. In a moment of conscience, he declares a no-sex pact just before Stan arrives, firearm in hand, to erase evidence. Honey is shot, Glitter crumbles to ash, and prom chaperones mistake Steve's sobbing for overzealous slow dancing. It lands as black comedy, but the ethical payload, manufacturing life for teenage lust, cements it as one of the show's most unsettling detours. Nothing eclipses the Phyllis deception, Stan's paternal betrayal. Feeling he's losing touch with his son, Stan hijacks a CIA neural avatar rig to become Phyllis, the dream girl who checks every box on Steve's fantasy list. Phyllis takes Steve to baseball games, laughs at his Star Trek references, even pretends to love warm milk. Steve, intoxicated, drops the sweet, nerdy Chelsea, who shared genuine orc language banter, for a relationship built on pixels and parental catfishing. When Steve pushes for intimacy, Stan panics yet doubles down, offering to sleep together if Steve attends homecoming with her. The plan unravels when Francine, storming the dance inside a mech suit, exposes the ruse. Chelsea, humiliated, ghosts Steve, while Stan chalks it up to quality father-son time. The emotional fallout lingers. Steve learns even the people who love him most can weaponize that love, and the one girl who truly accepted him becomes collateral damage. Debbie Hyman and Akiko Yoshida proved Steve can thrive when given a sliver of normalcy, but he can't seem to keep it. Debbie, more intrigued by cadaver facts and gothic literature than popularity, immediately treats Steve like a person. Their cemetery first date is sweet. Her admiration for his macabre trivia makes him feel seen. But Stan glimpses Debbie's plus-size frame, spirals into an eating disorder, and Steve panic breaks up to save Dad. They reconcile, but Roger's jealous crush, Francine's fear of being replaced, and Steve's misguided bar mitzvah heist fracture the romance for good. Years later, Akiko, Toshi's once little sister, returns as a shy spelling bee prodigy. They bond over kanji puns and share a first kiss, only to watch their mothers morph into feuding stage moms who kidnap, bribe, and sabotage until the would-be couple surrenders. Both stories show that when Steve tries honest affection instead of schemes, it works until the adults in his orbit kick the Jenga tower apart. Shannon Wells is Steve's most controversial triumph, equal parts cringe and genuine rite of passage. They meet in a hyper-religious purity club where fathers guard daughters' chastity like medieval knights. Shannon's pop culture blind spots mesh perfectly with Steve's nerd DNA, but every moment alone is policed by dads wielding swords. Stan, terrified of giving the talk, embraces the cult, literally dating his own son by proxy and winning a ceremonial blade. Guilt flips him from gatekeeper to defender. He duels 30 furious fathers, so Steve and Shannon can hash things out in a maintenance closet. They emerge, rumpled, beaming, and oddly empowered. Steve's V-card officially punched amid clanging sabers. It's unsettling, but the one-time adult interference accidentally helps instead of hinders, giving Steve a rare memory not immediately followed by horror or heartbreak. Surveying Steve's romantic history is like flipping through a scrapbook scribbled by chaos incarnate. He's plotted herpes-laced vengeance, dated senior citizens, eaten a dead cruise director, and been catfished by his own father, all before finishing freshman year. Parental help usually hinders progress. Roger's disguises hijack whatever remains, and Steve's tunnel vision turns every crush into a high-stakes heist. Yet his defining trait isn't failure, it's tenacious hope. Each catastrophe leaves him bruised, but eager for the next impossible crush, convinced there's a girl who can weather CIA serums, alien egos, and Smith family sabotage. Will he ever find lasting love? Hard to say. But with Steve Smith, the one prediction that never misses is that the next episode will reinvent disaster in a way we haven't imagined yet, and he'll still be standing in the rubble, flower bouquet in hand, ready to try again.